What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Freed channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I chose Crete over other companies that are out there. Why did I not go to a different company besides Crete? But first, before I get into that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out more of my other videos that'll be popping up at the end of this one. Also, go follow me on Instagram. The link to that is in the description below. Go follow me, I'll follow you back. And let me get right into it. So I was asked the other day by a subscriber. He actually drove for Millis and wanted to know why I chose Crete over the other companies out there. And to be honest, I really didn't have a whole lot of companies that I was looking at. I first had a criteria for a company that I was looking at. So I'll tell you all of the things basically that I was thinking about or that I needed out of a company before I even looked at companies, right? So number one, this eliminated a lot of companies, right? Number one, they had to haul dry van freight. I wanted to continue hauling dry van freight, staying in the same exact division that I was in with Millis. And so that eliminated, like I said, a lot of companies sticking to the dry van division. Number two, I needed to find a company that could match my rate per mile or exceed my rate per mile as a trainer. Like basically what I made as a trainer, I needed to match that rate per mile or exceed that rate per mile, but get it as a solo driver. And so I had to, that really narrowed my options. Honestly, it did, because as a trainer, I made a whole lot more than a solo driver did at Millis. But I wanted to find a company out there, and I knew that they were out there that could match that rate per mile. So Crete was there was two companies that were pretty close to that rate per mile, and really Crete has matched that rate per mile I was getting as a trainer at Millis. And I looked at GP Transco and Crete. And why did I choose Crete over GP Transco? This is nothing against them. I think they're a good company. I've heard a lot of great things about them. Never worked there, but I chose Crete because, number one, my family and I, we plan to move to Phoenix, Arizona, or in Arizona. We're kind of contemplating between Phoenix or Flagstaff. We really want to live in Flagstaff, but it's a little easier to function your day-to-day life in a bigger city. But I chose Crete because they have a terminal in Dallas where I currently live now. That terminal is only like 20 minutes from my house. If I moved to Phoenix, where we're looking at houses in Phoenix, Arizona, it would only be 20-30 minutes away from their terminal in Phoenix, Crete. GP Transco is a much smaller company. I believe they have somewhere around 500 trucks, whereas Crete has 5,700 drivers. They're much bigger. They have terminals in multiple cities. They have terminals in Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Dallas. They have terminals out east. But where I plan to move, they have a terminal there. So you know, if a company has a terminal in a certain city, they can get you home relatively easy, because there has to be a ton of freight in that area for a company to put a terminal there. And so GP Transco, I was looking at them, they pay a really good rate per mile. I believe it's 60 cents per mile base pay, plus like 5 cents a mile for bonuses and stuff like that. And that's just starting out. You get raises as you go. Well, Crete's the same thing. Crete, depending on your experience, it's over 60 cents a mile if you're OTR. And with the bonuses and everything like that, I'm right around 70 cents at Crete, and which is what I was making as a trainer at Millis. And so, and I don't care, I'll share that with you. But I mean, it's matching what I made as a trainer. I don't have to train to make that high rate per mile. And you know, they give that basic cent per mile raise every year or whatever. But Crete had, so number one, they haul dry van freight. A lot of the customers that Crete hauls for, Millis hauled for them. They could match that rate per mile I was getting as a trainer. They also had terminals in both cities that I could possibly live in, right? Dallas or Phoenix, and eventually it's going to be in the state of Arizona. So that was three, right? Four, I liked Crete because they are bigger. And as a company driver, this is really important, especially in the dry van division or a reefer division. it's really important to be with a bigger company. Why? Because there's going to be more drop and hook freight, because those bigger companies have more contract freight. And from what I understood about GP, talking to the recruiter, they did haul a lot of spot market freight, meaning I would have to sit at docks a lot more than I would at Crete. Also, they had a minimum time I had to stay out living in Texas or Arizona. I think Arizona was like 4 weeks you had to stay out if you worked for GP. You had to stay out a minimum of 4 weeks. At Crete, it's 18 to 24 days, and then you get off a day for every 6 days you're out. But here's the thing, I don't plan on doing over the road forever too. I do know that. And here in the next like year to a year and a half, I plan on switching over to one of Crete's dedicated lanes. And that dedicated lane actually runs from Dallas to Southern California and back. It's basically I-10, I-20, and I-40. It's like the loop. And it's a dedicated lane where I would get home for a reset every weekend. And so when I move to Phoenix, I can go back and forth from Dallas to Phoenix and take home times in either place, right? And so that's great. And also I can be home on the weekends, spend more time with my wife, my kid, and when I'm ready to come off of over the road. And like I said, that's going to be within the next year and a half. Well, GP Transco is only OTR, so that pretty much eliminated them. These were the two companies. This was like, basically it was between those two, because I narrowed it down so much by, hey, I only want to stay in the dry van division. I'm looking for a company that goes all 48 that can get me home to wherever I want to live, whether it's Dallas or Arizona. I mean, either company could do that, but Crete, it was way easier. And also, they had other options. They have regional divisions, they have dedicated, they even have local jobs. I could work a local job, be home every night, have a day off on the weekend, and still make really good money too. I got offered that. Local work is not for me. I would rather do the dedicated thing when I want to be home more. But hey, that option's out there. If I need to do something to where I want to be home every day or every night, I can do that at Crete. So that is another thing. They just have more options at Crete than GP had. Crete has more options than a lot of other companies, and it's not only that they have more options, but they pay a lot more per mile. They just pay a better rate. I mean, most of the drivers that I've talked to here have been with this company for 5+ years. I've talked to some that have been here 20, 25 years, and they love it. They say, I'm not leaving, I'm retiring here. That says a lot. I would say 8 out of 10 drivers that I talk to here at Crete absolutely love the company. Not just, oh, I like it, it's pretty good. No, they said they love the company, they're retiring here. That says a lot about a company. If you want to know if a company is good to drive for or not, you talk to the drivers. And GP actually had that too. When I talked to GP drivers, they said the same thing. They loved it there. But for my own personal situation, it was better for me to go with Crete. That's just my own personal situation. So for anybody that works at GP, if you watch this video, I'm not downing them saying Crete's better, but for my situation, it was better. I have more options here at Crete. They also have an owner-op division. I do plan on buying a truck in the future, and Crete has an owner-operator division. I need to figure out more of the details about that, but they do have that option, and I'm going to be looking into their owner-operator division and finding out what that's all about. And so I do like that. I like the fact that you can buy a truck from Crete. You could do the same thing at GP Transco too. I like the fact that you buy it though. You don't lease it. There's no lease purchase. There's no leasing the truck at all. Like, it's strictly you buy the truck from them and it's off their hands. You have control over where that truck goes when you buy the truck. You use outside financing to actually buy that truck here at Crete. I like that. And so it just gives you more freedom and more flexibility, and you actually own the equipment that you're buying, right? And so anyway, those are pretty much the things, honestly. I really did narrow it down to 2 companies. And here's the thing too, if I were to change divisions, this is another thing. If I were to change divisions, I would not work in reefer. Nothing against people that are running for Schaefer. I mean, hey, you want to run reefer. They get paid a little more per mile. But I like dry van better than reefer, personally. That's just me. But If I were to switch divisions, I would go into flatbed. I would like to do that. And Crete does have Hunt Transportation as part of their, or as one of their companies, and that's their flatbed division. I would go to Hunt. If I wanted to change divisions, I would switch over to flatbed. They have that. They have reefer, they have drive-in, they have flatbed. I could do either one of those, right? And that's the thing. It's just there's more opportunity here than there was at GP and other companies that I was looking at. Also, they just pay a lot more. They just pay a lot more. You look at what Crete pays for a guy with a year or more experience versus most bigger companies out there, even mid-sized companies, really most companies. They pay better, and they're a good company. They have a solid reputation with drivers, and there's going to always be people that don't like the company that you talk about, especially on YouTube. There's always going to be people that have negative things to say. But again, a company is what you make of it, but it's also the reputation it has with the drivers that actually work there. And for the most part, most of the drivers I've talked to have been extremely happy to work here at Crete, and that made me feel really good about my decision, because Millis was the same thing. Before I even started in trucking, I talked to a few Millis drivers before signing up for their school and everything like that, and it was the same feeling. It was the same thing. Like, everything was transparent with Millis. With Crete, everything's transparent. Whatever they tell you in orientation, whatever the recruiter tells you, that's what happens. That's all that matters to me. Hey, you follow your end of the agreement, and I follow mine. I do my job, you do yours, and we're good. And so I'm happy here. I'm almost about 3 weeks through from the time I'm making this video, and I absolutely love this company so far. It's easy. I'm left alone to do my job. I love the PeopleNet system. I love how streamlined their dispatching is. I love the fact that you pretty much are set up with a pre-plan on every load you're on. Basically, when you get close to a shipper or a delivery, they're sending you a pre-plan to go pick up at the next place before you even get to your delivery. It's awesome, and it's just streamlined. It's cool. My dispatcher's really good. Basically, everything's been good so far. I can't complain. And again, trucking's trucking. Nothing is perfect at any company, but like I said, that's why I chose Crete over other companies out there. Pretty much I had my criteria, and they checked all the boxes. So that's pretty much it for this video, and I really appreciate y'all for watching, and make sure you stay tuned for the next video that I drop. God bless. Peace out.